Hi, Olivier. It's great to see you here.
Hello, Sari.
Uh,
Pleasure is for me.
uh, as you know, this is the 40th anniversary of Intact Academy, really the Institute of Training Business Coaches and Consultants. And well, I decided to invite some of my favorite clients and colleagues to talk about their experience of change. And so I'm delighted you're here. Maybe you'd like to introduce yourself first, because I know you as an entrepreneur philosopher or philosopher entrepreneur, really, but a good colleague in TA. But maybe you'd like to introduce yourself, who you are today.
Okay, absolutely. First, Sari, thank you for inviting me. I'm honored. So my name is Olivier Bettach, and I live in Paris, France. I'm deeply passionate about systems, and especially when it comes to organizations. So transactional analysis, TA, is the cornerstone of my theoretical framework. And I split my time between research and consulting, working with leaders, organizations, and also private equity funds.
Wow. Yes, and the research, can you say some more about that?
Yeah, I have a very recent research institute in Paris called the Darwin Institute, and with a neuroscientific colleague, we try to find new protocols in the field of mental health, and we are using the systemic theory of transactional analysis to do so.
Wow.
And yeah, we'll try to develop protocols that would have an impact over large number of persons, and yeah, to cure what can be cured about mental health, like burnout in professional environment, purpose in life questions, and also radicalisation, depression. Yeah,
Wow.
basically it's the topics that we try to tackle.
That's a really broad field, but it sounds fascinating. So, one of the things that have fascinated me throughout my working life, or throughout my life really, is the concept of change, and is change possible? And, what is change really? And it's one of the questions I'd like to ask of you. So, how do you think about change? Um,
Yeah.
you also work at many levels. So,
Okay, I try to answer. And it's a good opportunity to say that my vision of change has been also influenced by you, Sari, because I have the honor to be your student, and I've been supervised by you for many years. So yeah, it's an occasion to be grateful.
hmm,
So I see change as a consequence. To my opinion, it's the result of energy shifts.
hmm,
And those shifts happen when a system, whether it's a human group or even a physical object like an apple, the system faces internal or external dynamics that create tensions. So it's all about energy. Um, for example, if a system is hit with 100 units of external energy, it needs to mobilize at least 101 units of energy to withstand the pressure and avoid breaking apart. And to do this, the system must reorganize its internal energy distribution, and that will create changes. And those changes can either be temporary or long lasting.
hmm,
History, for example, gives us a powerful illustration of that. during the Second World War and also the First. To resist the German invasion, nations had to transition to war economies.
Yeah.
So car factories started producing weapons and tanks. And since the men were at the front lines, women entered the workforce in unprecedented numbers to support the war effort. So these changes continued after the wars and significantly reshaped the role of women in society throughout the 20th century. So essentially, without dynamics, there's no change. And that can explain why in nature some species evolve or go extinct, while others remain stable for millions or even billions of years. Maybe species didn't face enough pressure to evolve, to change. And we also see this with mathematicians and physics, that systems don't like change. This is called the principle of least action from a French mathematician 300 years ago called Lagrange. Oh. And yeah, for instance, a ball will always take the path that minimizes its energy expenditure, or to be more precise, it's Lagrangian mathematical expression that measures systems stability. And we can see that those formulas works in very different fields in the way of physics. Electromagnetism, strong nuclear force, weak nuclear force, it's the same formulas. And the fields are so different that support the idea that there are universal laws that govern all natural systems. This was the intuition of Eric Berne, yes, inspired mostly by the work of Charles Darwin, and later by Norbert Wiener, who pioneered the cybernetics movement. So that was truly, this is what truly fascinates me in my job, connecting with the fractal geometry of nature. That's why I love what I do.
Yes, the patterns in the patterns in the patterns.
Yeah.
Yeah. So some people would say you're really going back to Eric Berne's origins when he wrote about ego states as psychic energy, systems of psychic energy. Yeah. So is there a different theory that you use to describe these energies, or?
Yeah. When you look at the system, also John Dewey has great contribution to the constancy hypothesis.
Yeah.
And it was related with ego states. But later on, Fanita English also spoke in a less precise way, but about unconscious drives and an idea in constancy between those drives. And she kind of said that to globally, mental health is the average of how much your unconscious drives are stimulated. And so we have three authors, at least within TA, that think and with this constancy hypothesis. And yes, I must say that this is the main topic that was, drives me in my work.
Yeah.
Because it's all about energy. So in nature, there is geometry. So if you see my arm, you don't need to see my other arm. You saw a lot of arms in your life. You know that my other arms will be the same length. And so it's the same in a group. In some group that faces external pressure, you know that energy will flow in the external border, and then you know that there is not enough energy inside. So you never have to open two borders at the same time. So that's why, and if you know a little bit of this energy constancy, then you can deduce information regarding what you're not seeing, not regarding what you're seeing. So it's why there is I think, a pretty much useful expertise in TA org.
Wow. Can you give an example of how that works in a successful change program? So can you give an example?
I'll give you a mixed example, because in this example you have two phases.
Phases, yeah.
Yeah. The first one, we have a leader who is the president of the company. He founded the company. It's a real estate company, very big one. And he had a CEO, but the CEO went into burnout. And he decided to have two CEOs, co-CEOs, to manage the construction of new building for one, and the management of existing buildings for the other one. And it doesn't work. There is a steering committee that doesn't work, is not effective. So the first claim is, I want those people to communicate and to work more effectively, knowing that I'm an old person, I'm going to retire soon, so I want to step back in a couple of years. So okay, so that was we did we did diagnostic of the company, and we saw that really there were a lot of symbiosis. And even if the president how to be the non-executive president, he was everywhere, was taking every decision, and the real difference between official structure and effective structure. So the first intervention that did not work is to we tried to change the system, because it was the will of the leader. But we realized that he wasn't ready for this. He didn't realize how much energy would it take him to step down, not only in the papers, but in real life. Yeah. So we lost maybe a year. Wow. Trying to change this structure, because we didn't measure the cost of energy. It was just wishful thinking. And because later on in Europe there were crises because of the war in Ukraine and all the like, then the external pressure gets stronger on the system, and then the leader said, oh, no, I must take the control of the company. So we decided
go with the energy flow.
The energy flow into the external border, because they had problems with banks and building contractors and all the like. And at the end of it, what was the best intervention was to clarify the system around a positive autocracy, because this is what it was. And it worked like this because real estate is a very low process. You don't have a building every month. It's 10 years, 15 years. So the person was autocratic, but not a bad one. It was less, let's say, old-fashioned style paternalist.
Yeah.
Yes. And bringing clarification that no matter what was written, he was the only boss. it was very little intervention in terms of cost of energy.
Mhm.
And until 2 years that we made this intervention, it works a lot better. And the problem was that the borders were blurred.
Yes.
It was not the problem of other problems. I mean, changing the guy was too high and not clever. So yeah, this is one example that has good and bad, but
Yeah.
it's to show the complexity of the choices we have to make, because sometimes what the client asks is not what the client needs.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, nice. So you've been in this business for quite a while and thinking about it a lot. I know you study a lot. So if there were young people who wanted to become a change agent, what kind of lesson would you give to them?
Maybe the first lesson, if I may, is to find interest in organic, in nature, yeah, organization or organic. It's the same root. So if you see in organization something that could never happen in a tree or in a plant, it's maybe you're mistaking. It has to be organic. So to get great interest with natural system, I started my career, my first university, it was law school. It was very interesting, but what was very frustrating is that that was so human, that was so, it has no link with organic structure. It was really, yeah. The second is the Martian perspective. Try to listen without judging, and to use theory and intuition, because intuition can process a lot more information, but you won't be able to explain why. But you need to allow intuition to process information that could never be processed only by adult ego state.
Yeah.
And then you will be able to make concepts. And so not to forget the intuition and the Martian perspective. And maybe the third piece of advice, is to know who is your client and what are the questions he wants answers about. Because usually in organization, you will meet several people with different agendas. And at some point, you have to know who is your client as a system and as an individual, and to have a very clear contract. Because if you get mixed to the client's mess, then you don't have the clarity to help.
Yes. Yeah.
So you wrote a book called On the Edge. I love this expression, because you have really to stay on the edge enough to be, let's say, contaminated by the system, but not too much, in order to have clarity. And clarity, it's linked to the clarity of the contract, fundamentally. So yes, this can be my piece of advice: an organic perspective, Martian perspective, and knowing who is your client, and globally what is your contract.
Fantastic. What's next for you, Olivier? What is your next study?
My next study is mostly about unconscious drives. I see what Fanita English said, like an hypothesis that the more the unconscious drives are stimulated at the same level, the more an individual can feel good mental health. And I really want to go through this hypothesis There is a very interesting concept that I discovered 6 years ago, thanks to you, Sari Van Poel. It's the compelling purpose, which is linked to the expression drive. And as there are ways to identify what the compelling purpose of one individual is, you can foster the energy that it will use in order to express this compelling purpose. And then you have a link to the expression drives, and you can see that if expression drives get higher in terms of energy, as a matter of constancy, the survival problems dwindles, or the quietness. You can see how it flows. So this is what I'm trying to do now.
On purpose, then there's script elements go down.
Absolutely, because you have not enough energy to feed the monster of the racket system in the survival drives. So let's try. It's compelling purpose to me is an access to increase the level of expression drives to see if constancy works. And I saw, for the moment, I tried this protocol over maybe 300 times. I started 5 years ago, and yeah, this is my main field of research is to use the compelling purpose to verify the constancy hypothesis of Fanita English regarding the unconscious drive.
Well, good luck, and thank you for this, Olivier. It's always fascinating to hear you.
Thank you very much, Sari. And again, it's an opportunity to me to say thank you, because you were a major figure in my path, and it's not finished. So I love you.